What's up, guys? This is Mason the Brock Henderson, and this is NCIS Season 13, Episode 16, Loose Cannons. It was a pretty good episode. Nothing really, Jean Benoit comes back into the picture, but that's pretty much the only thing that really has an impact. No, actually, a couple things that have an impact on the future. The two main things to talk about as far as the show in general is you've got the surgeon who saved Gibbs's life. He's back in the picture. He's talking to Gibbs about you need to talk to somebody. I have to talk to my therapist. You need to talk to a therapist. Trying to convince him to do that. And then you've got Jean Benoit back in the picture. Apparently, I didn't really understand the La Grenouille connection. I think they were his guns or something that were stolen from NCIS, but I don't know. It just seemed like he was kind of thrown in there so Jean Benoit would have a reason to be back in the picture. But I'll talk about that really fast because it kind of felt like an episode where the last one felt like a goodbye episode, and this one felt like another goodbye episode. I didn't get that. I don't understand why they did. Honestly, the last one that they had, I thought ended very well. And even at the end of this episode, Tony says, if I had a chance to rewind time, I would go back and leave it at South Sudan. Because, that's the ending that would have worked for him. And I totally agree. I really do think that's how it should have ended for them. And yet, she's back. Now they're back again. And they're having the same issue. They're having issues again where he's back in her life, even though she's got this other guy that she's married to now, and it's causing issues for her. And I'm just like, so why did we do this? What was the point of this? Because honestly, it didn't feel like there was any point at all other than to just have some interesting story going on in the background, which, because we already had it another time this season, makes it feel like it's not all that interesting. When you have the same exact story being told, it's not that interesting. So I didn't really understand why they did that. I didn't understand why bring her back again just to have the same exact goodbye story as last time. But the story with Gibbs and the doctor is a good one. That's definitely the highlight of this episode because they have this, they're having these conversations throughout most of the episode talking about kind of what Gibbs has gone through and what this doctor's gone through. Gibbs has a nice conversation with his wife in the diner. They talk about, he feels like useless as a doctor. I can't remember the exact wording, but pretty much, at times he feels like he's worthless, and Gibbs is just like, nah, he's worth a lot. He's been a good friend to me. She's like, but you're not gonna tell him that, are you? He's like, nah, of course not. So, classic Gibbs stuff. But I do like how they handled the end, because throughout most of this, you've got the doctor helping out with the case in general. He's helping them figure out clues, look at the body, stuff like that. I kind of predicted what was going to happen for him at the end, because he and his wife are nearly caught up in an explosion, which was kind of random. It wasn't even his car that exploded, it was another car near him, and he blamed it on the guys that stole the guns because, oh yeah, well, I didn't save the friends, so they were trying to kill me. I'm like, wait, what? How would they know who you are, first of all? And second of all, why not put the bomb on your car? Why put it on a car near your car and then blow that up as you happen to... why not wait till you get... I didn't understand that. But, the way it ends for him is about what I thought was going to happen. The near-death experience kind of shakes him, and he realizes, okay, I'm happy with my job as a doctor. I don't need to get into any dangerous situations like that again, especially, his wife is almost killed too, so that's another moment of, I need to take a step back. But, Gibbs goes to a diner to meet him after all of this is over, and this lady is sitting at the bar at the diner, talking about, well, I guess we both got stood up or something like that, and she's doing a crossword. And at first I was just like, what is this? And then Gibbs starts helping with the crossword. I'm like, is this going to be like a romantic thing? What is... And then the doctor walks in and sees them and just kind of stands for a second and then walks out and just like, what? And then Gibbs looks at him, and then the doctor looks back at him and kind of gives him a little nod. And then Gibbs goes and sits next to her and just like, well, the name's Gibbs, but I guess you already knew that, doctor, whatever. Or I can't remember what he called, but it's the therapist that the doctor was talking about. And I was just like, see, that is a good introduction to kind of just put her there and show her kind of grabbing Gibbs's interest. And then it leads to you realize that this is the therapist that the doctor's been talking about. That was a good entrance for her. And it kind of does bring up a lot of stuff for the future. Gibbs finally talking to a therapist. Is he going to last long with this therapist, or is it going to be like he does one session and he's like, I don't need therapy, it's not for me, blah, blah, blah. So it does raise a lot of questions on where this is going, and I'm curious to see. Other than that, though, this episode was pretty much another paint-by-the-numbers NCIS thing, Not the typical mystery, per se. Like, most of the time for NCIS, there's an actual mystery. You don't see who the bad guys are, and you're trying to figure out who it is. This one was more they're trying to find the bad guys. And the twist at the end is that the ATF know where, like, they gave them false information because they were doing a super secret, like, tracking of the guns or something like that. They had an operation going on where they were tracking the guns, so they knew where they were the whole time, but they weren't telling NCIS, and then they fed them this false lead about the guns leaving on a plane to Ukraine. But when Gibbs shakes him down, he kind of reveals all. It was a little too easy in my opinion, but he reveals about the tracking the guns, and Gibbs asks where the third shooter is, and it's like, well, I think I know where he might be. And then it shows them arresting him. So it wasn't as fun to watch as most NCIS episodes. Like, most of them, I think about like Elementary, like every single episode is a mystery, and you're trying to figure it out alongside Sherlock. NCIS, for the most part, has a couple mysteries where you can try to figure it out alongside them, but then they also have episodes like this one where it's just the team working to try to figure out, where the killer is, or something like that. Where the kidnapped child is, something like that. So not every single NCIS episode is a mystery, but so this one is one of those episodes where it's not necessarily a mystery. You're not trying to figure out what happened. You're just watching the team as they try to figure out where the shooters are, and also dealing with some personal stuff in the background. So it was an okay episode. It was another good NCIS episode, another one I could sit down and just watch any day and enjoy it. Which that's kind of been NCIS's thing for a long time, is that aside from the few, like, the season finale or building up to the season finale, something that has to do with the main storyline. And I've said this before in other reviews, but generally NCIS's episodes are they're good. You can just sit down, turn it on TV, tune into USA, and NCIS will be on most of the time. You can tune it in and then watch and just kind of, enjoy it. Nothing really special or like mind-blowing, unless it's a season finale or a mid-season finale. Somebody happens to die that episode. That's when it gets a little bit crazy. But so overall, it was good. It was okay. This is a really short review, but honestly, there's not a whole lot to talk about. So it kind of feels like it was maybe setting up for more in the future. Setting up the personal lives a bit. So maybe Jean Benoit is going to come back later for something. Maybe this therapist with Gibbs now is going to be involved with something. I don't know where they're taking it, but they really haven't set up a whole lot this season for a season finale. Whereas most other seasons of NCIS, there's been something going on in the background of most of the episodes where you're waiting for the season finale because you want to see how this story is going to end. Whether it was Ari, whether it was Ari's friend that one season, whether it was the son and daughter of the guy that Gibbs killed to avenge his family. I mean, those seasons, they set it up. Something was going on. You weren't really sure what it was at first, and then as you started figuring out more and more, you're just like, I want to get to the season finale so we can figure out what's going to happen. This season hasn't had that. Like they've had a couple episodes that were bigger episodes, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, brought in people that we hadn't seen in a while or something like that. But overall, nothing that really is dragging on. No running storyline going on in the background. So, it's not a big deal. I'm still gonna watch it just because I enjoy the characters and I can sit down and enjoy an episode. But overall, it's not. It hasn't been one of the stronger seasons of NCIS, but it's still okay. It's still enjoyable. So that's a good thing. Let me know if you agree down in the comments below. Am I completely wrong? Is this show boring now, or do you enjoy it too? Let me know. Let me know what you want to see in the future. Talk about stuff you may have heard. Like Tony leaving at the end of this season is one of the rumors I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but hopefully we don't find out too much too early because I don't want spoilers. But anyway, leave a like and subscribe for more NCIS, and I'll see you at the next review. Peace out.